watching West Hartford Community Television.
You're watching West Hartford Community Television.
You're watching West Hartford Community Television.
For the community, by the community.
Hi, my name is Katja Dunn with William Ravis. I'm a real estate agent in Avon, West Hartford. Welcome to Home Chat, your local show about home, house, and real estate. Home Chat is a local show which covers topics like real estate talk, law, inspection issues, how to maintain your home, gardening, organization and decluttering, which will be our subject today again, first-time buyer issues, first-time buyer market, but also how to get your home ready for sale, ready for the market. If you haven't seen us before, you can always go on the West Hartford Community Television on their website and go under Video on Demand and just find Home Chat, click on it, and pick the topic you like. You can watch it 24 hours a day at any time and from anywhere. As always, here are a few statistics about the real estate market here in West Hartford. I looked at the numbers and I just compared some statistics, houses who actually closed from January 1st to up to now in 2011. Those homes really only stayed on the market for an average of 76 days. If you go back 1 year, same time, January 1st, 2010 to March 14th, 2010, houses stayed on the market 71.3 days. So the market is really a very comfortable market right now. We see multiple offer situations. We see also buyers getting great deals, and there is demand on either side. And what's most important is always location, 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 and also how well maintained your home really is, which always, a well-maintained home will always sell a little faster and you stick out more out of the competitors around you. Well, having said that, today we invited Jennifer Alden, and Jennifer Alden is from Simply Declutter Succeed. She's a residential organizer here in West Hartford. And why don't we let Jennifer introduce herself? Jennifer, thank you so much for joining us today. And why don't you just tell people what you do and just give us a little bit about you.
All right. Well, thanks for inviting me today, Katja.
You're welcome.
So I have a professional organizing business here in West Hartford. I serve people to help them organize their homes, their environments, their photos. We help with downsizing, all aspects of decluttering and really simplifying life. So I have a company called Help Organizers, which can help people find an organizer who's right for them.
That sounds interesting. And so today we have been thinking about topics. And you see, I'm teaching this class in West Hartford, and I ask people, what is it really you like to get out of this wonderful meeting today? And people say paper clutter is one of their biggest problems. You know, when you think back, a lot of seniors are not really used of throwing things out, like their statements and pictures, and people saved everything in their attic and basement. So maybe why don't we talk a little bit about paper clutter today? And one of the first questions, Jennifer, is how can people take control of all the paperwork that comes into their home? So it's not just the stuff we have in the attic and basement. So much is.
So whenever we organize, we focus on the current, whatever is coming in, because if we don't take care of that and set up a system for that first, then we can never get to the backlog of paperwork that we want to get organized.
Absolutely.
So I'm going to talk a little bit about organizing the paper that comes into your home. The first thing you need to do is really limit the amount of paperwork that's coming into your home. There are a couple ways you can do that. You know, we get so much mail coming in. If you go to www.optoutprescreen.com, you can stop all of those credit card offers and insurance offers that come in your mail, which is substantial for some people.
Would you repeat that website again?
So it's www.optoutprescreen.com.
Thank you.
When you go there and you fill out their form, it'll stop that kind of mail from coming to your house for 5 years. So one time, you can do it for 5 years. If you want to send a letter to their written address, you can stop it for a lifetime. So that's huge. Cut down on that paper coming in. Another way you can cut down on the paper, which many of us have already done, is go to online bill paying, right? So not just paying your bills online, but also request the statements be sent to you online. So, for example, your bank statement, which comes in the mail for some people each month, is 7 or 8 pages. If you can have it sent to you online, that's the best way to go, because you can save it into a file, save all your statements for the year, and then just burn those to a disk and save them with your tax records, and you don't ever have to deal with the paper clutter. All right. But there is still a lot of paper that comes into our homes, right? Okay, so for the paper that comes still coming, we need to set up a home paperwork center.
Okay.
When you get paper in, the first thing you need to think about, and you'll know because in your house you probably have a pile of paper someplace, right?
I do. All the children's work.
Yes, all of that as well. So a lot of people have this ideal of all their home paperwork ending up in a home office, which oftentimes does not happen because it ends up in a pile in the kitchen or on the dining room table.
And day number 2 just adds up, right?
Right, and day number 3, right? And then all of a sudden, day number 4, you need to find a paper, and it's in this big pile, and you're not sure where you can find it. And people waste a lot of time, and they waste money on late bill fees and that kind of thing when all the paperwork gets messed together. So
definitely a problem. Wherever
that pile lands, for me it was on the kitchen counter, and for a lot of clients it's on the kitchen counter. We spend a lot of time in our kitchens, right? So that's where you want your center to be, wherever the paper lands. All right. In that center, you need to have a recycling can, and you need to have a shredder, because immediately when the mail comes in, we want to get that paper that we can get out right away. Don't let it invade your space in your home.
So don't get tempted to take it up to your office.
No.
Set it up right in
We
your
don't want to
kitchen.
move it around the house.
Perfect.
Because that doesn't make sense. So if we can recycle it right away, you get some ads in the mail, I'm not going to use these. Recycle it right away. So sorting the paperwork right away is important. Now what you have left is the stuff that's important that you're going to need to deal with. You're going to have 2 types of paperwork that can be archived, so like tax paperwork or medical paperwork or insurance, statements, that kind of thing. Those can be archived someplace out of your central living space. So maybe in the basement or maybe in the home office where you have a filing system set up. Okay, so those are one kind of paperwork, the kind that needs to be archived. Then you've got the important papers you need to act on. So that's like a bill that needs to be paid. It's a newsletter that you might want to read at a later time. It's a form that you need to fill out for your child's summer camp. All of those kind of things that need to be acted on. So for those kind of things, you really need to have an action filing space. And that's going to be right near your recycling and your shredder in that home office not home office, but paperwork center.
Paperwork center.
So you can come up, there are a couple of things on the market that you can use to file your papers. You can get a vertical file stand to sort files. You could use something like this, which is just a portable tote that has, 7 or 8
Pockets.
pockets, yeah.
Which I think is important because I'm just thinking about my kitchen. I have a little desk area, I will call it, but I couldn't put a filing cabinet there. So I think, for people who have maybe less space, this is looks like a great option.
Something like this or something like this, which also comes with, several folders so that you can further sort those important papers. You're going to sort those important papers into a to-pay file, so we're going to call them action words. To pay, because you'll have bills, right? To do, because you're going to have things you need to follow through on. Possibly to read if you have a lot of things that you want to save for reading. Sometimes it's good to have a place for each child or your significant other, because you might get mail for them, but you're not sure exactly what to do with it, so you put it in their slot. And then when they say, hey, did I get anything in the mail, or did such and such come, you can say, well, if you did, it will be right there in that pocket for you. You know, it's easy to access, and that's the whole point. It's easy to access
for everybody. I can even see my children going in there and picking out their forms, whatever they need to take back.
Easy to act on, too. So after you have it set up, you have a way to sort your mail when it's coming in. The important thing is that this is not a dark hole. So many of us pile papers because we're worried we're going to lose them. They're important, and we're going to lose them. So we stick them on the refrigerator, right? Or we put them in a pile. And what happens is they get mixed in with all the other paperwork. And we never, like, once you have your refrigerator full of papers, you don't even consciously notice that those papers are there anymore.
It's just clutter.
It's just clutter,
Absolutely.
right? So that important form then all of a sudden is not part of your consciousness. If you have it in something like this, and you set aside a time, once a week, once a day, depending on how many things you have to get done, you know, it could be 15 minutes in the morning, 15 minutes in the evening to go through your to-dos and get done what you can, right? I also suggest that you keep like a little notepad in your to-do section. You might want a section for to call, because some people have a lot of calls. You know, real estate agents, you have a lot of calls you need to return.
I cannot live without a list.
Right,
a to-do list.
And what happens for people a lot of times is they get a phone call, they pick a scrap of paper up, write it down, and they feel confident they have it written on a scrap of paper. And pretty soon you have scraps of paper everywhere, and it's not a good way of keeping track of what you need to get done. So if you have it in your to-call file or in your to-do file, it's all there. When you go, you say, I have 15 minutes, I need to get things done. You can look at that list and everything in it.
That sounds like a great system. And that, I think this is such is space saving too, right? So you don't need a big space for it. And this way,
portable.
You're not portable, exactly, and paperwork is not overwhelming anymore because you really minimize it right that moment.
You know anything important is here or here.
Exactly.
So when you need to look for that field trip form or something like that, you're not looking through piles of junk mail. You're looking right here. It gives you a real sense of control. Yeah.
Yes.
Right. Exactly.
Thinking about the same word. That's really true.
Yes.
You want to be in control.
Yes.
And you lose control. And I have seen many people who are not in control. People who are overwhelmed with paperwork, and people don't know where to start. So
I see that every day.
I bet you in your business. I mean, that's what you do, right? You're helping people
I set up systems for people all the time like this, that helps them feel like they're in control.
They're in control, exactly.
There's one other category of paperwork that comes into our home, which is coupons, right? Some people really like to keep coupons. Those would not go in here because if you put them in here, you will not have them when you need them. So they need to really be in your car or wherever you use them most frequently. There's a couple of products on the market right now that are great for organizing coupons. This one's called the Couponizer.
Oh, I can't wait to see this. Would you open that?
It's just a file system, you know, for coupons. It has different categories. It has all kinds of gadgets in it, a shopping list, so that everything you need when you go shopping is all together, and it sorts your coupons. The other thing, this is my favorite product right now. This is called a card cubby. It's like a mini Rolodex that walks around with you.
Isn't that cute?
So if you collect a lot of business cards,
or
what I use mine for are, so many companies now are sending coupons on cards. So they're small and they're easily lost. So coupon cards, library cards, store cards, right? You have one for every store. Maybe a store gives you a card where if you buy 5 things, you get one free.
Right.
All those cards, when you go to the store, you say, I have it someplace, and you pull all those papers out, right?
Yep, that would be me.
And it's hard to find, right? So if you keep this even in your glove box, and it's all alphabetical, so you can easily find what you're looking for.
That sounds great. So tell me again, so where would people, you see, I'm not the coupon person because I don't have a system. Sometimes I wish, because I know people really do save, right? So is it better, do you keep your coupon book in your car, or do you bring it in while you look through your mail and then you carry it back in your car? How does it work?
Well,
or should it work?
That's interesting. I really recommend to people that they have a bag that goes to the car and from the car with them.
I love that.
So we call it a to-go bag. And it can stay by your home paperwork center. And something like your couponizer could be in it. The point is, when you go someplace, you take that bag with you. Anything you need to have with you should be in that bag, like the couponizer. And then when you leave your car, you know, you have things you've purchased, you have your umbrella, you know, all these things we're trying to juggle, stick them in a bag, bring them in. When you go back out, if you have returns to make and those kind of things that usually you stick in a pile, right, by your door, stick them in the bag and know that when you bring that back and forth, you have everything with you.
I love your idea.
So, so that takes care of all the mail paperwork.
So we have other questions too. I think this was a very big part, especially just to tackle the incoming paperwork.
Yes.
Well, the other question I have for you, how do you oh, no, we talked about this. I take this back. We already answered our paper center. What about all the paper that kids bring home from school? I mean, I have 3 children. They're now a little older, but I still have a 2nd grader, and he brings home a lot of paperwork. My middle schooler, not as much anymore, but I know as they were all in elementary school, that was so overwhelming. All the crafting, the artwork, and the volunteer papers, right? And so how can you get control of your school paperwork without really losing all the valuable artwork, right? You don't want to throw away everything.
You don't want to throw away your memories.
Yes, exactly.
Right. So when you get those papers home from school, just like with the mail, you need to sort them. There are some things that are going to be archived, right, saved, and you don't need to access them again because you're saving them for memories or keepsakes. And then there's those things you need to act on right away, like permission slips maybe, or those volunteer forms that you were talking about.
Yes.
So always the best thing you can do, with the mail as well when it comes in, is if you can take care of it right then, sign that permission slip, put it back in the backpack right then, that's ideal. If you cannot, then you have your to-do file. So you stick it in your to-do.
You're right.
You'll know that you're going to access that again soon. And so it's not going to get lost. It's not going to get forgotten. So put it in the to-do to take care of. All that paperwork that is keepsakes, the work samples, the art samples, have a place in your house where you keep that. So it might be a box, you know, that's near your paperwork center, near where all that paperwork's coming in. You put it all in the box. You don't have to sort through it right then. If you have time, that's great. But if you don't, then once a trimester or at the end of each month, set aside the time to go through the box. When you go through it, and your children can help you because this is a great lesson for them.
That's
don't
dangerous.
keep every piece of paper. If you keep every piece of paper, none of it's special, right?
That's
but
correct.
if you keep a few pieces each trimester, then you really have the special paperwork. So go through, pick a number, say to your child, you can pick 3 pieces of work from the box that you think are your best work samples.
That makes them realize probably too, it's something very special, right? I mean, those 3 pieces are the most special pieces in your artwork, and start keeping all of them. You see, I can see my children saying, oh, I want to keep all of them. I don't want to give up any of them. But I like your idea, just let them make a choice. You can pick 3.
Pick 3. If there's some that they really want that they can't part with, more than that, you know, take a picture of it. Even taking a picture so that they can feel like they have a piece of it still, but not have the physical clutter. Write the date on the back of the pieces as you choose them, and then find a place where you can keep those. It's kind of like your archive files. They don't need to be in your paperwork center, in your prime real estate of your house that you spend all the time in. So maybe a good place I recommend to parents all the time is in a box under a bed, even. Sometimes the basement's not the best place because it gets damp and that kind of thing. But they sell those big under the bed boxes, and you can just add each trimester or each month those few pieces to it. And that really cuts down on the paper. As long as you have a system and you know in your mind, this pile is not, this pile is only schoolwork, first of all, and I'm going to go through it when my child gets the report card, or I'm going, you know, set a time frame for yourself.
So like scheduling
Schedule it with yourself,
like a doctor's appointment.
For sure. For sure.
Then, yeah, that's a good
and
point.
I'm so glad you said that, because any paperwork that comes in that's like a flyer for, you know, pajama day or a family math night or whatever, don't keep all those flyers. Have a master calendar, write down the date, recycle the paper, right? We don't want all those papers floating around. We only want those important papers in our
I like
space.
that. And life becomes so much easier. I mean, most people have smartphones. You type it in your calendar and it beeps the day before you have your event. So we don't really have to hang them up on a rope to be reminded. Great idea. I like this. So that tackles the crafting paperwork from our children and the
you
artwork.
know what? Now that you said crafting, it reminded me of one
Go
more
ahead.
thing. I have this whole set of boxes
Oh,
here.
please show us.
that I
It looks
should
so
address.
colorful.
So this is a whole set of boxes. It's called the One Stop Kids box.
Yes.
So it comes as a set with a photo album.
Okay.
9 file folders, so 1 for each grade you could use. It comes with a memory box, and then it comes with this box for filing important papers, important documents like birth certificates, report cards if you want to keep them, those kind of things. So it's kind of an all-in-one system. It comes with great directions for how to use it as well. So just wanted to point that out. All of these products are available through a company called Clever Container.
Clever Container.
Which I can give you.
And you're the rep for
yes, I'm the rep
Container.
for Clever Container. So.
Wonderful. Would you show us this crafting folder? I would like to see how it looks from the inside.
So there's this is just the photo album. So you could keep their school photos in here. So you have them all in one place, right?
Oh, good idea.
Chronicled. And then these come with labels. So you can label them however you wish, and they're expandable folders. So when you pick out those 3 or 4 pieces of work samples, and you could put those, each year in here, so that you, at the end of the school career, have one for first, second, third.
It seems like it will be much easier also to explain to children, here, this is the space we have.
Exactly.
Now you pick your 3 to 4 pieces.
Exactly.
And that will cover your grade, your second grade, your third grade.
Exactly right. And when you limit the space, like when you have your files in here, it's a good indicator and reminder to you. For example, if you have a to-read folder or slot in here, it's going to get full. And that's your reminder. I need to go through and see what realistically I can take care of. Yeah. So you're exactly right, Katja. And then this is a box like, let's say a coil pot comes home, a clay pot, or those cute craft projects. You can keep them all in one space in a box. And it's all color coordinated. This is the boy style. There's a girl style. A girl style as well.
Very, very, very nice pattern. It looks very attractive. Yes. And I can see kids liking that too, because it has colors. It's
and
bright.
You want them to take pride in the things that they save.
Absolutely.
We need to teach our kids at an early age that things take up space, and we only want to keep the ones that warrant being in our space.
Right. I'm just thinking, I'm looking at this box, and I'm thinking about all the trophies, children bring home. I mean, my mother-in-law brought us